Good morning. How are you today?
Good.
Good, good. Thank you for coming. Welcome to Introduction to Psychology. So today we are gonna finish this chapter, which is chapter 11. We've been talking about stress and stressor and operator, how you assess your stress and level of stress and how you kind of cope your stress. So this is kind of at the end of this lecture, but it's interesting topic, so I'm gonna talk together. And since Daniel is came back and he missed the last Tuesday lesson, I wanna ask him. Are you stressed out recently, and anything else kind of make you kind of bother you, maybe annoyed you, or
I mean, I'm not like stressed out all the time, so it just depends on if I'm waiting on midterms or something like that. I don't know. So college is funny because it's like I work 5 days a week, and then the other 2 days I do 6 classes a day. So y'all don't space out for some reason. Y'all don't space out your work. So it's
Sure.
like I'll have 2-3 days where I'm like able to go home and play video games or hang out with somebody.
Yeah.
And then like every class puts an assignment on me at the same time. So
I
all of a
see.
sudden I have like 2 or 3 days to get in some yeah. But there's that. But before in the army it was a lot more stressful. That's kind of why I got out of that.
I
It was a
see.
lot of stuff.
Lots of stuff. So maybe feel less stressed right
Oh, yeah.
now, but kind of juggling and hassling. That's kind of mundane thing too, right? Because your schedule is fixed. And sometimes because all the instructors, we will have an exam every 4 chapters. That's kind of every 3 chapters and 4 chapters. So I know maybe on the whole week, you have maybe 2 to 3 exams, even maybe Tuesday and Thursday and Wednesday and different day, right? So it can be really stressful, yeah, for you as a student because you're working as a full time as well, right? So maybe time management and kind of try to make a good balance, and
Oh, yeah.
that can be good stress, right, for you? Yeah. So we've been talking about stress and stressor. So I know you have an exam coming, and there are certain maybe tasks in your working place. Those are more like a stressor, which is the reason kind of cause you feel stressed out.
Yeah.
So when you feel stressed out, what's your symptom usually? When you feel like, oh, I'm so like stressed out now, and what would be your symptom?
I get aggravated.
Okay.
And like my brain's thinking about too many different things at one time, so I just kind of get like overstimulated, so I just gotta take a break and do something else.
Yeah.
Take a break for a second.
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much. Because maybe depending on individual difference and us, we may kind of take it differently and maybe react differently for the stressor. And some of you may feel like, oh, I feel too much. I'm like overwhelming right now. I want to give up. Maybe I'm gonna take a nap. Maybe I'm gonna take a break, or maybe I will go. I mean, I'm gonna leave here. Yeah, and then maybe go somewhere else and then come back and try to tackle all the tasks. But some of them, maybe it's really stressful. I have a high anxiety. Maybe my heartbeat goes up, and bodily maybe I'm kind of a little shaky. It can be as a reaction to the stressor, right? But those are kind of stress. When we say stress, those are more like our bodily or maybe psychological, those reaction toward the stressor. Right? Yeah. So let's talk about stress and ethnicity. If you're looking at this picture, this is like a family photo, right? I can see. I feel like more like an Asian family, yeah, look like, yeah, and grandma and maybe pair parents and 3 children. That's kind of my understanding. So thinking about that, if you thinking about your growing like a background and your own culture, have you ever felt because of my culture, I feel stressed out? Any experience? So like statistically, and also researchers kind of support that individual culture, which is like our culture, American culture and Canadian culture, and more collectivistic culture, which is more like an Asian culture, maybe my original culture like a South Korea, maybe emphasize a little differently. So individual culture more emphasize, you're more emphasizing some competition. You need to win and you need to do well and go to like some next level, like a promotion is really matter. If you do not get a promotion, you're really frustrated. Yeah. So those kind of individual competition is really highly valued, right? So sometimes it can be really stressed out, right, because of those. And collectivistic culture is more emphasizing group value and family value. And as an individual, sometimes you need to sacrifice your own, kind of earning or maybe value and try to mingle together and maybe put first group value, your family value. So it can be little different. So have you ever experienced those maybe little culture, or maybe your family can be your culture too. Maybe your own family value highly at certain things and maybe you feel like a little stressed out, and any experience like that?
Not too much. I mean, I'd say if anything, it'd be more like my family's religious beliefs kind of being just a lot to follow as a kid, obviously.
I see. You
But
should do it, maybe you shouldn't
yeah,
do. Okay.
I mean, I shouldn't have been stressed out about it, but I was required to read like the whole Bible and like all of this stuff. So I
Yeah.
don't know, just random stuff.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, thank you. So those because of those different ethnic, because we've been talking about multiculturalism and diversity, and that was the last chapter, chapter 10. And is there any possibly because of those cultural background and individual family background kind of bother you or maybe stressed you out because of those, culture, right? So interesting thing is we can kind of see here too, individualism versus collectivism. Personal achievement is really emphasized in individual culture versus relationship and harmony. Sometimes you need to sacrifice your own purpose, try to mingle and maybe give better, benefit for your group of people, which is your family and maybe your relatives. So there's like some, phrases maybe I'm going to read and maybe discuss together. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Have you ever heard about that, expression? Yeah. What does that mean? Like a squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Like when something or somebody that stands out, they don't like, and there's multiple ways to say it. Like you could say things that people don't understand, they don't like, they shun, they push it away or whatever, or they try and fix it or take it. Yeah, that's pretty much what that's saying.
Yeah.
That squeaky wheel gets greased so it doesn't squeak anymore.
Okay, very good, very good. So those are more like if you have some problem, even you have some problem, you need to shout out and try to talk more and voice up too. I have some problem. Please help me. Is there anybody can help me? Right. So try to express your emotion and seek some help so you can kind of get well into like a normal life. Those are more like individual culture, yeah. But the other one is the nail that sticks out gets pounded down. Have you ever heard that expression?
I've heard similar expressions, yeah.
Okay, yeah. What would be that meaning? Just like your guess.
It's kind of the same thing that I was saying just now, though.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard those types of things, like, I don't know, there's multiple sayings like that. Like whenever you got a flock of white sheep and there's one black one, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's definitely...
Yes. So I guess based on this textbook information, standing out, that's more like an individual culture. If you have some hard time and you really want to shine, you need to voice up and ask help and get everything goes well. Yeah, try to get together in that sense. More like a standing in is in more like a collectivist culture. If you are too loud, maybe you need to pound it down. You need to be mingled together. Your voice is important, but in order to have those group value, sometimes you need to volume down your voice. So that's more like a little kind of opposite. Like expression, but I guess depending on individual difference too, right? And also family background. And I know many my students who grow up in the Oklahoma, not only individualistic culture, they really keep the collectivistic culture. Family is like number one, and they are willing to sacrifice their value. Sometimes they're like earning and financial things to support their family and their grandma and grandpa. So I realized maybe it's not, I mean, big picture can be individualistic culture, maybe collectivistic culture, but we need to consider some reasons too, like a stage, maybe some, growing up background. And so honestly, maybe it's really depending on individual differences, right? Yeah. Okay. Mental versus physical experience of stress. Interesting thing is, maybe I can ask you, so Daniel, if you have a very severe kind of stress, stressed out, how do you feel? I mean, you said you're like kind of annoyed and agitated, and you feel like more physical pain or more like a mental pain?
I don't know. I feel like maybe I could feel fatigue or
Uh-huh.
something like that, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't feel like I get too stressed out really to where like
Uh-huh.
I get headaches or any of that type of stuff. Like I get headaches from other stuff, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I get too stressed out. Like I feel like I can
Okay.
handle some stress.
Yes, yes, thank you. Good to hear. So, if we, I mean, based on those, information from the maybe researchers, try to find it more individual culture, they suffer some mental, symptom, which is anxiety and depression. So, feeling like maybe I don't want to do anything else, maybe losing some motivation because it's too much for me.
I
I'm
could see
stressed out.
anxiety.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I mean
Yeah.
like stressed out about
Uh-huh.
a test and how well you're gonna do, so you're anxious and
Uh-huh.
stressed out for a job interview the next day, so you can't sleep, because your mind's running.
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
That's right, that's right. And maybe collectivistic culture more emphasizing their physical, like weakness, which is stomach ache, and they cannot eat well because, tomorrow is my test and very nervous and maybe not prepared. So more like maybe they need to get some medicine for physical aches, some stomach ache and headache. I mean, it's really depending on the individual too, but
Yeah.
it's interesting. But we can kind of consider depending on your family background and maybe cultural background, maybe religious background, maybe you may feel differently comparing to other people. So there was an interesting discussion. And another thing is culture. Yeah, of course, we've been talking about collectivistic culture and individual culture, but how about the gender? We've been talking about the last chapter, sexual orientation. We used to be kind of divide only gender, two genders, female and male, but there are non-binary and transgender and other too. We need to consider those things, but if we kind of simply, those are more like a traditional view, man versus woman, this is kind of interesting. So women tend to, maybe whenever they got like stressed out, they want to talk that topic with somebody else. So tend to like using more social chance. Maybe call their mom, call their best friend, and they kind of describe what was really happening to them. And honestly, maybe as a boyfriend, maybe spouse, you don't need to take on any action. You just kind of simply listen, yeah, and maybe the woman will talk about what was whole happening. Yeah, just kind of nodding and smiling and kind of try to support her. Maybe after that, she feels much better. Yeah, that's more like a woman's tackling their stressful situation. But men tend to be more action, like taking on action, try to solve that problem itself. Yeah. So do you kind of agree with that, or maybe you feel maybe same? Just maybe you need to talk and maybe try to explain more like that. I mean, we need both, right?
I think. How do I fix this? How do I make it less stressful? And
Okay.
then sometimes, I just tell myself it's not gonna kill me. I can get through it, and it's different. It also depends on the situation that's stressing you out.
Sure.
I could talk to somebody about it and be relieved instantly too. At certain times, but
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So you try to tackle that subject most of the time.
like how do I change that?
Uh-huh. Or even while during those that maybe you kind of keep saying maybe self-affirmation, maybe I got this, I can do it, and try to kind of ensure those, confidence and boost your like availability, right? But I guess maybe sometimes you just kind of talk, maybe how can you happen to this? Maybe kind of little complaint too, right? But most of the time you want to kind of tackle that problem, right? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So this is like the last slide of this chapter. So if something happened to you, problem-focused coping versus emotion-focused coping. So problem-focused coping is, let's imagine you are taking some class. Maybe English composition class. I mean, just like an example. And you did your best, and you wrote down, one of the assignment, and you got C. I mean, you are expecting much better grade because you put lots of effort, right? And you try to listen to, direction of that instructor, and you feel like you did well, following all the direction, and you got C, and that's not, expected grade. What would you like to do? Just wondering.
I would read his comments on the document that tells me what I did wrong, and talk to him about it and try and change that. Okay, good. Yeah, those are more like a problem focused in coping, right? Because I did my best, and I do not understand why I got C, so I will meet the professor. Right? I will meet the professor and talk about, my situation. I did my best and I follow the direction and I understand your, comment, but still, is there any way maybe I can get a better grade, and maybe kind of negotiate and also discuss about your writing, right? Yeah, those are more like a problem focused coping, and somehow the professor was really stubborn, and then, no, Daniel, I'm so sorry, but you got C this time, and there's no way to update your grade. Then what would be your reaction? Well, I wasn't gonna try and change my grade either way. I was just gonna try and do better next time. So I'd be like, oh well, and then I would kind of just, like I said, I would try and work on making myself, really better or whatever. But obviously you can use the emotion focused. And kind of just, change how you feel about it a little bit, in a different manner. Like, you did try your hardest, but you can do better next time. It didn't permanently affect your grade.
Yeah.
So,
very good, very good. So, I mean, you did your best, try to attack that task. Somehow it didn't work. Then you need to change your mind, which is, that was, only one assignment among 3 or 4 in that, composition class. So maybe because of this, maybe I will be more attentive toward doing those, reading those instructions. And even before submitting my paper, maybe I'm going to discuss it with my professor. So maybe usually professors, they allowed to, due date is maybe 1 week later, but I already wrote down my paper. If you don't mind, could you read mine? Because I really want to make sure to, submit the right format of the paper. Usually I do accept, and then try to correct. And when the, students kind of correct those, I give like a perfect score because I see the effort. Not only those, perfect writing. So there was only one, maybe your writing assignment. So you can do much better later on. So eventually you can change your grade. So is it more like you kind of handle the stressful situation, problem solving, problem focused coping first, and then maybe emotion focused?
Yeah, majority of the time. If I can change it, then why am I complaining? But like, Yeah, you can use both. Just depends on what type of stress factor it is, what type of stressor it is.
Very good, very good. Thank you so much. Okay, so that was our stress and health chapter. Let's go to the personality. So, personality in this chapter, we are going to talk about what is personality. It's really interesting chapter, and if you really want to know more about this personality, personality is one semester long subject. So from now on, like personality and social psychology and psychological disorder and treatment, those are more like a one semester long kind of content wise. So I try to make sure a very important point of each theory and example of that personality, and also other social psychology and abnormal psychology as well. So here, if you have maybe note, maybe some paper, can you write? Yeah, can you write? What is personality? What is your own definition of a personality? So if you're watching my lecture, write down your own definition of a personality. I want to hear from you. And personality is really interesting subject. So I really want to hear about your own definition. So let's begin with that. Okay, you're done, yeah? So if you don't mind, could you read for us?
I feel like it has a pretty wide coverage, but
I just put a person's morals and respect to others and a combination of that and how they act daily. I mean, because you can't just put it on that. Like, it's also how funny somebody is, or so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
how to put that in a definition.
Yeah, very good, because it can be really broad definition, right? So you did a really great job. Thank you so much. So we will talk about what is personality, and there are so many scholars who are interesting about this topic, personality. So we will talk about psychodynamic theory of personality, Freud. We've been talking about Freud when we talk about in chapter 1. So, this chapter is almost like a Freud chapter. Half of the information, we will talk about psychodynamic theory of personality, how Freud believed personality form. Yeah, so we will talk about his theory, very detailed information. And the second one is humanistic theory of personality. Do you remember, as a human being, we have a purpose of our life and try to do our best to live, seeking those in a moment. Yeah. So Maslow's hierarchy of those learning, and we've been talking about so many concepts too. So this chapter we will kind of finalize and organize those humanistic perspective relating with personality. And third one is behaviorism and social cognitive theory of personality. So behaviorism, do you remember the John B. Watson and Pavlov, those dog experiment? Yeah, and those are like a chapter 5. We've been talking about all the those in a learning chapter. So by the way, today is October 30, and today is your due day of reflection paper. Yeah, so Daniel, have you already, you told me, so which one would you go? You were thinking about the reinforcement of your dog, Maple, right?
yeah, that was the first one.
And then now
The,
you're thinking about
the-
parenting?
Yeah, the parenting.
So, have you decided maybe which one goes like for the parenting? Okay, okay, good. I'm excited to read yours. So don't forget, by today, 11:59, if you're watching this lecture, please upload your reflection paper. Okay. So Yeah, those are behaviorism and social cognitive theory of personality, Bandura, Bobodor experiment. Do you remember the kids are observing, punching, other kind of punching those Bobo inflated those doll and try to understand, yeah, those observation learning. So we will talk about that theory too. And the last one is trait theory of personality. So trait is, if we describe somebody else's personality, maybe, oh, he's social, maybe she is lazy, maybe anything, yeah. Try to describe somebody else's personality. It can be really interesting. So we will talk about those traits, theory of personality, and assessing personality. This is like a fun chapter. I'm gonna bring several, folders and try to create the interpretation of those folders based on previous some assessment, like a personality assessment. So it will be really fun chapter. So let's go one by one. So defining personality, it's not easy because Daniel mentioned it's really broad topic when you kind of include everything. But he did a really great job kind of describing those definitions. So those are persons very unique, right? Distinctive and stable way of thinking, feeling, and behaving. So we do know personality can be changed. So Daniel, do you believe personality can be changed? Or maybe not really. How about your opinion?
If the person wants to and dedicates themselves, yeah. I mean, it just depends on, I guess, what personality trait you're talking about.
Okay, very good. So I totally agree with you. If maybe I was really shy person, maybe shyness can be part of the personality too, right? But from young age, I didn't like my personality. I want to be more outgoing and more social. So just you mentioned, I put my intention on it. So whenever I have a chance to go out and play with the other, my kid, with my peers, I try to go out. Because I want to stay inside and maybe reading books, maybe that's better for me, and maybe play by myself. But I didn't like my personality, so intentionally I tried to go out and play with some balls. And I didn't like those ball games because I was afraid of hitting by ball. But I guess when I kind of play more with my peers, I like it somehow. It's really fun, all kind of creative ball game. So it has been changed and changed. I believe it has been changed starting from elementary school, junior high, and high school, and college. Yeah. So I feel like I'm pretty much social. Yeah. But at the same time, maybe deepest my mind, I feel more maybe comfortable and relaxed when I being alone. Yeah. So I do have those maybe shyness and more introverted personality, but at the same time now kind of earned, kind of changed of maybe a little of my personality. But I believe personality does not change dramatically. That's my kind of maybe understanding. But some of you, maybe you may not agree with that. Maybe you can change every personality. But I guess I do believe more like a personality is pretty stable. Yeah. But depending on the situation.
Disorders.
Yeah.
You can have a bipolar disorder in your personality or multiple personality disorder.
Sure. Yes. Maybe it can be really hard to, because you may kind of try to hang out very well with one of the friends, and somehow maybe the other day, totally different person kind of treats you totally differently. You may feel like, I don't know about that relationship, right?
Yeah.
So it can be really challenging, yeah, if we have those psychological disorder. So we will talk more about that later chapter, which is chapter 14 and 15. So here, the description wise, optimistic. Are you more optimistic person, Daniel? Like optimistic?
Depends.
Depends, yeah.
A lot of times I'm like, what is that one theory? The worst is gonna happen. I can't remember what the theory is.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe shy, maybe that I used to be very shy, and lazy. I mean, we are not lazy. We try to do our best, but sometimes we can be lazy, right? And funny. Do you feel like, Daniel, you're a funny person?
It can be.
It can be. Yes, yes, yeah. Those are all the personality traits when we can kind of describe using some adjectives. Adjectives. So here the character and value judgment made about persons morality and ethical values. I'm so glad that Daniel kind of include that one, morality, as a part of the personality. So, oh, she is very kind and he is very honest and patient and faithful and jealous, maybe sincere. Yeah, those are relating with some character and value relating with those, adjectives. Yeah, I kind of, wake you up with lots of adjectives and talking about personality. And temperament, we've been talking about temperament when we talk about chapter 9, lifespan development. Yeah, do you remember lifespan development means conception through death, right? So when you are young, we do have a temperament. So temperament is more like an inborn ability, which means we are having it. Yeah, as a young baby, you have a very easy personality, which is you sleep well and maybe smile a lot and eat well. And you're pretty much a happy baby. Those are like an easy baby. And difficult baby, they do not sleep well and they are very cranky and they cry all the time, agitating and fidgeting. Those are more like a difficult baby. And some of them, maybe you kind of between, slow to warm up. It takes time, but eventually you get through it. Yeah. So those temperaments, we will have beginning of our life. But that's the portion, part of the personality. So that's more like at the beginning of your life, you may have those temperament, yeah? So those are more like at the beginning of the life. Here, longitudinal study suggests that stability is pretty high. When we talk about personality, it can be changed. And if you consider those psychological disorder, maybe lots of changes can happen possibly, but usually personality is pretty much consistent. Person's personality. So just like maybe Daniel mentioned that personality can be changed depending on the situation. Depending on those context, it can be changed. And also, maybe intentionally we can change it too. Let's say you are a very shy person and you got a good job at a company. And at the company, job situation, you are dealing with so many other people. So your personality should be really outgoing, extroverted. So personality can be changed, not permanently, but at least when you're working at the company, right? At the working place, you try to smile more. I mean, it can be really stressed out, right? But I guess, maybe smile more and try to be more kind and maybe more talkative, more like extroverted. But when you go back home, maybe you're exhausted. Maybe you don't want to talk anything else. You maybe go to sleep, right? So it's depending on the situation, you may be kind of changed. Yeah, possibly.
Social battery.
Yes, yes, very good, very good. So the next one is, we will work together here. Who are you? Describe yourself using some adjectives. So possibly, can you give us 10 positive personality? Like I'm diligent, anything. I'm social, and negative can be I'm lazy, I'm procrastinating, and So anything. Hopefully, maybe 10 positive and 10 negative. But I know some of you have only positive things. That's okay. You can kind of describe using some adjectives. Yeah. So Daniel, if you don't mind, yes.
It'd be a 10-10 or a 11-9.
Yeah, 10-10. Yeah, 10. I mean, it doesn't matter. Maybe 20, all the positive. So kind of begin to write, maybe describing you. Maybe you have only one or two negative. That's totally okay. So if you're watching my lecture, try to write who are you, describe all the descriptive those adjectives. So we've been talking about kind, optimistic, lazy. I mean, there was like a first slide. We've been talking about it. I'm honest. What else? Very sincere and faithful. Yeah. Yeah, while you're writing your personality adjectives, maybe I will kind of help you try to. So maybe starting from A. Um, Anxious, yeah, can be like a personality, right? I'm anxious, and can be one of the personality traits. Um, Jealous, yeah, or hardworking. I'm very stubborn. Um, Shy, social, very agreeable, yeah, supportive, unique, or anything. So if you're watching the my lecture, try to think about what would be like a good description about describing somebody else using some adjectives.
All it has to do is it has to be there.
Gracious, patient, yeah, patient, driven, highly motivated, nervous, content, confident,
City registration is a basis for liability. Your fault. What? What the hell is this?
studious, like working hard and study hard all the time. Funny, yeah, funny is good. Humorous, yeah, humorous and funny. Light-hearted, serious, yeah, serious. Spiritual. And what else? Yeah, optimistic, pessimistic, caring, yeah, caring, loving,
There are some defenses though for the security accident or history. Again, the first one is materiality. So
reserved, yeah. Yeah, I can kind of see Daniel is, lots of long list of description of his personality, which is really great. So we are ready to maybe hear from him in a second. So I'm going to keep generating adjectives. Um, Conscious, yeah, conscious, yeah, conscious, yeah. That can be conscientious, and I'm thinking about big five, right? Openness, generous, yeah, generous person, openness, generous, conscientious, extroverted, introverted, agreeable,
because what about the workforce? So think in terms of those things that wouldn't an average
active, energetic.
Using just one word though.
Okay, maybe even like from here, I can see you wrote so many, like a list of the words. So if you don't mind, could you read? Who are you? Can you describe yourself?
I did 10 and 10.
Okay, that's really perfect.
So
Yeah.
I put faithful, straightforward, down to earth, empathetic, funny at times,
Okay.
honest, helpful, athletic, friendly, caring, loving.
Okay, very good.
And
Very
then
good.
the other side, I put lazy,
Uh-huh.
procrastinator,
Uh-huh.
anxious at times, antisocial, low social battery, kind of antisocial,
Yeah.
gets hangry a lot,
Okay. Angry and hungry.
angry,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Uh-huh.
impatient, especially when I'm waiting on food,
Oh yeah, yeah.
angry.
Because yeah,
And then I
angry.
put hungry all the time.
Okay.
Always tired, not serious that often, and will annoy you if I like you.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you. So, honestly, we do have some positive, description toward us, and also some like somewhat negative. Yeah, I mean, we are not always negative, but we do have those tendency as well. So, thank you so much. It's really good example, and I know if you're watching my lecture, you kind of write down description of yourself using some adjectives. They can be a good beginning of thinking about personality. Yeah, so thinking about that, even scholars, thinking about, oh, when we study personality, let's find out all the description for the human being. Maybe they are using some dictionary starting from the A. Yeah, A and to the Z, yeah, and try to describe all the possible those traits. So trait personality, they try to kind of putting into category of people, description of all the adjectives. Yeah, starting from like 1600 and kind of narrowing down to 50, and then kind of getting slow. I mean, they narrow down and narrow down. They finally make a big five. Yeah, big five. Those are like an ocean, but we will talk more a little later. But that's the really good beginning of the who you are, describing using some adjectives. So it's really good starting. And one of the trait theorists today really want to use those adjectives and describing of a human being and putting into category and understand better about human beings' personality. So here, biological contributions to the personality. If you are twins, identical twins and fraternal twins, some of the like a personality traits can maybe happen, maybe show again to your other twin. So usually the identical twins, they are showing more strong kind of nurture side, inborn ability of those personality. But I do believe if you grow up in the same house, even though maybe you are kind of adopted kids, you may kind of show very similar, one of the similar personality as well. Because personality is not one thing, right? It's really hard to make an even definition, right? There are so many dimensions of personality, like a temperament, some character-wise, right? And your maybe uniqueness. So one of the personality part of it can be genetically maybe influenced or maybe nurtured later on. Like maybe growing up together, maybe going to the same school, meeting similar neighborhood can kind of form your personality. Yeah. So if you're thinking about you and your sister, yeah, you kind of share, you have a sister. Do you see any common personality between you and your sister? Possibly.
We're both caring.
Oh, we're both
That's
caring.
about it.
Yes.
Like, no, we don't really. We don't look alike. We don't look. I mean, she has a different dad, so she's like darker skinned and I'm lighter skinned. She has dark brown hair. I have blonde hair or dirty blonde. So I don't know. Yeah, you wouldn't think. A lot of people wouldn't think that we're related, but we
I
are.
see. Uh-huh. But both of you kind of growing up some, your, family religion, yeah, religious background, and try to be kind to other people and care other people and love each other. So I think they can be good common personality growing up together. Yeah, very good, very good. So if you're interested about those nature and nurture influence for somebody else's personality, behavior genetics, that's the subject area you can kind of study more into that topic. So here, finally, maybe this is the chapter we are going to talk about the theory about Freud. So Freud, psychodynamic theory of a personality, Freud believes human beings, we do build all our personality when we are young. Young means like early childhood. Age 4 to 5, all the personality, Daniel, you should kind of share with us, caring, loving, and faithful, and straightforward, and those, positive personality, and possibly some lazy and procrastinating, and maybe anxious a little bit, and those personality, it's all formed when you become age 4 to 5. Yeah, and then consistently kind of show here and there. That's kind of what he believes. So that means early childhood is really important. So depending on how parents care that child, depending on how maybe neighborhood try to treat that child, maybe child kind of form pretty much stable personality when the child become age 4 and 5. Do you kind of agree with that, or maybe not necessarily? Our personality will form during those early childhood.
Yeah, I mean, not completely, of course, because I wasn't adopted until I was 4 or 5,
Okay.
and I feel like I definitely changed in my personality considerably once I became adopted and got taught how they wanted me to act and taught how how to be respectful and all
Yeah.
that type of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Because I can tell you one thing, the foster care did not teach me all of that type of stuff. So, yeah, they weren't focused on the morals.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. So this one is 1800 and 1900 at that time theory, and obviously it has been changed. And there are so many different format of a family, adopted family and step family, and all kind of dynamics. So this theory is not fit to everybody's situation, but Freud theory is well known kind of theory. So we just want to understand, what is his background and why he thinks in that way. I mean, we don't need to agree the all of his theory, but it will be interesting how he emphasized those early childhood period as a very important period to form those personality. Yeah. So if you're thinking about you are born as a little baby and you starting from early age, your maybe parents try to having some attachment. We've been talking about those attachment, right? Some bonding moment, and kind of growing up, you got cared and loved, and maybe from the neighborhood and relatives and parents, and those early period, which is like early childhood, 4 to 5, age 4 to 5, he believes most of the our characteristics of a personality may formed and pretty much like consistently showing throughout our life. That's kind of he thinks in that way. Interesting is he never studied with the children itself. More like he was dealing with the adult, already grown up adult. But back then, 1800 and 1900, not many people report about their mental health, which is if they kind of broke their arm, they try to see doctor and please help me. I think I broke my arm. Can you cure? But there are not many people. I'm suffering because of consistent my thought and my feeling, and because I have some grudge going on toward my brother. So it's really hard for me to sleep at night. So there are not many people kind of report about those, their mental status. But I think Freud back then, he was really well known because he tried to understand people's those, physical, some lacking, like cannot sleep well and cannot eat well, and try to listen what was really happening. And he kind of analyzed, his own theory. Probably you have certain things happen when you are young. Yeah, and that still kind of bother you. You need to reserve those conflict. Yeah, so maybe through even dream, you are having those in a moment. You really want to revenge on your brother because you got abused when you are young, and in reality, you cannot harm any, your brother. But through dream, you can do that. Right? So maybe you can kind of sneak in your brother's house and try to harm your brother possibly, yeah, through dream, yeah. So he kind of interpret, yeah, in that way. As a human being, we have unconsciousness and consciousness. Using those, three personality, traits, we can kind of explain today: id, ego, and superego. So we will talk about it. So he emphasized unconscious forces and early childhood experience as one of way we can understand a person's personality and their development as well. So let's talk one by one. So unconscious mind is really important for him. Because he realized many people suffer, they cannot sleep well, and they have some like even physical, some like aches. It's because of maybe previous experience. It was really happening during the early childhood, like when they are young. So that's why he really emphasized early childhood experience can be really matter to form somebody else's personality, and it can be really important to somebody else's well-being and healthier life, right? And unconscious level, unconscious mind is mind in when we think and feel and certain memories. It's kind of deepest in our mind, but does not show much in reality because it's not allowed. Our society do not allow that kind of things. But through dream, that person maybe show their feeling, or maybe some, those, thought toward the other person. And Freudian sleep, maybe have you ever heard of like a Freudian sleep? Yeah, so those are part of verbal or behavior, some, mistake, reveal some unconscious thought or wishes. So let's, this is like a hypothetical, situation. Let's say somebody has a girlfriend. Her name was maybe Sarah. But recently they broke up and they met a new person. Maybe new persons, maybe the girlfriend's name can be Jennifer. Let's say Jennifer. Yeah. So maybe there's a new girlfriend, maybe they have a good, relationship like a Jennifer, and then they try to kind of get closer and closer. So one time they having some, like dinner together, and they kind of, drink together. During the conversation, suddenly the boyfriend kind of say, Sarah, by the way, what are you gonna do maybe this Saturday? So maybe deepest that the boyfriend mind, still maybe Sarah can be the one of the maybe first lover and still maybe like her maybe. It's kind of his interpretation. That can be Freudian sleep, like a bubbly, saying wrong girlfriend's name. Instead of Jennifer, you can say Sarah. So his interpretation will be the deepest your unconscious level, maybe still you do like Sarah as a maybe friend, maybe girlfriend, yeah. And maybe behavior-wise too. So more like unconsciously, automatically, kind of make a mistake, and that can be one of the like a Freudian sleep. So have you ever experienced in that way? Like unintentionally, but somehow, maybe you kind of keep thinking about maybe your army experience, and then maybe during your daily life, you just kind of say maybe certain words, or anything else.
I think the closest I've ever came to a Freudian slip is whenever I'd like sneeze and a fart slipped out.
Okay.
I'm just messing with you, but yeah, I don't think I've had a Freudian slip that I can think of, but
Uh-huh. But it's interesting, right? Interesting.
I've heard of it. I've heard of it happening actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
but no.
Okay, yes. So, I mean, that's interesting, but I mean, sometimes we do maybe unnecessary situation, but we kind of really thinking about one thing. Let's just say you really need to do maybe record your lecture. So I also kind of keep thinking maybe recording my lecture. Maybe it has been maybe like in my mind and maybe thought for a while. So at certain point, maybe it's not relating with like recording my lecture, but I just kind of automatically say, because deep is my mind and heart, it was like obsessed. Maybe I need to do record my lecture. I mean, I'm teaching my online class, and several of the classes I want to update my lecture to my online, class. And sometimes it can be burden because lecture, doing lecture here, it's more fun, but you need to record your lecture and kind of upload to the online class. It can be a little challenging. So I kind of keep postponing, maybe this weekend, but maybe in my mind, I need to do, like a record my lecture. So yeah, so I mean, at a certain point, maybe I shouldn't say that word and there's no need to say that word, but I cannot go there because I need to, record my lecture. But it's maybe out of context and nobody will understand what I'm saying, but kind of keep saying it. They can be part of the Freudian sleep too. Like unconsciously, we kind of keep haunted their mind and, maybe at a certain point, it just kind of release, right? Yeah. Okay, so this one is the structure of the personality. Today, I brought some props here. So think about it. He believes those three elements, id, superego, and ego. If you're looking at this picture, id, ego, and superego, all of them, all the components, can have an unconscious mind. So unconscious mind can be deepest, kind of rooted in our mind, try to kind of building up our personality. So id it's an animalistic part of our mind. Let's imagine I'm so hungry right now. I'm so hungry. So I totally understand your, hangry mind, because I also, if I'm really hungry, I become angry. So I really want to grab like an energy bar and at least kind of drink some waters and, feeling better, because I feel like shopping is not fun because I'm so hungry right now. Yeah, all kind of things. I totally understand. Yeah. Okay. So id is more like a pleasure principle. Freud believes it's the beginning of our life. Even like a newborn baby, infant, they have id. I brought this one more like a E-bird shape. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, those are id. So starting from the beginning of life, like 0 years old, you do have a id. Yeah, those are more like an animalistic part of our mind, generate our most primer, kind of biological based like impulses, such as like maybe like a hunger, maybe sex, and aggressive behavior too. So here, those are pleasure principle. I'm hungry right now. I need food right now. So those are like eat, our those most animal-like, those are our mind. But even though you're hungry right now, you don't have money. How can you buy some food, right? So we have a super ego. Those are more like an angel, right? Sarah, because eat, maybe keep kind of asking you, I'm hungry right now. Steal the bread and feed me. Maybe deep inside of your mind, right? But we do have a super ego. But imagine super ego is more like morality, like a moral center. So it's more like happening age around 4. Because when you are just born, maybe you do not have a super ego. Maybe you do have it, but we do not know. We cannot, there's no way we can check it. So super ego kind of, reminds you, Sarah, stealing is not a good way. Yeah, you need to work hard and make money and buy bread. Give you some like a good advice. Those are more like a super ego. So the part of the mind then opposed to eat, right now, I'm hungry, need bread. Right? Yeah. But I guess try to kind of remind you that's not right things to do to steal the drug. I mean, steal the drug. I can say that can be like a Freudian thing. I mean, yeah, but I guess steal the bread, right? Yeah, so that's not right things to do, right? So those are like similar to like a conscience center, like a moral center. Yeah, those are like a super ego. So ego, I made this one last year. Yeah, so ego, you need to make a good balance. So ego said, right now, I'm hungry, bread, yeah? But superego say, no, stealing is not right. You need to work hard and make a money and have a bread. So as an ego, you need to make a good decision. Yeah, sometimes you need to satisfy your biological needs, right? But at the same time, always we have law and rule, and also religion too. Yeah, that's not right things to do, like a moral center. So we really need to make a good balance. Okay, here. Okay. Oh, no. There you go. Okay. So the part of mind that serves the realistic mediator between id and superego. Those are more like a reality principle. Yeah. So we have those three structure of the personality. Try to kind of building up make a good balance. Try to make a good balance between id and superego. I think it's really cool theory. Yeah, there was like a basic his theory. So here, defense mechanism, techniques used by ego. So ego, you, reality, try to handle and make a good balance to manage conflict between id, animalistic, your kind of drive here, and superego, more like a moral center, and try to kind of teach you. So there are several defense mechanisms. Maybe it will happen during our daily life, yeah. There are so many like defense mechanism, repression and denial, regression, projection, and rationalization, and reaction formation, and displacement, and sublimation. Yeah, I will kind of introduce one by one. So projection can be one of the projection can be interesting. You here, maybe example will be you have an id. You have on your id, animalistic, yeah, your personality. Id impulse to cheat on your partner, but you accuse your partner of wanting to cheat on you. Sometimes, maybe not us, maybe not you're watching here, but as a human being, maybe you are attracted to somebody else and you want to cheat on your spouse or maybe partner, but you believe you kind of treat your spouse is kind of cheating on you. Your spouse is having another affair. So you kind of believe in that way. Try to self-defense because you are in that situation. Instead of putting yourself kind of cheating on your partner, but your spouse is trying to cheat on you. So that's why you're cheating on. Or kind of try to justify those situations. So it's not happening to us, but that's kind of part of one of the self-defense mechanism. And reaction formation, here you have a id, like your animalistic kind of center right here, yeah? Impulse to damage your friend's new house because you're so jealous. Your friends got a really huge house. You really want to live that kind of a house, but you cannot make that big money and you cannot live that kind of huge house. So you're really jealous is going on in your big mind. Yeah, you kind of, having that kind of mind. But instead you buy them a housewarming gift. So basically you want to ruin maybe your friend's house, but I guess in appearance-wise, you try to make some, like some cookies and buy some, housewarming gift and try to give to her, maybe him. Yeah, that's more like a self-defense mechanism. So you do have a certain id going on, jealous, big jealous going on. Try to ruin that house, but actually you can't because still that person is your house. So instead of following your id, because we have ego, making a good decision. I know your moral center will keep telling you, Sarah, she's your best friend, and recently she purchased a big house. That means, you shouldn't ruin, her house. You need to celebrate together. So as an ego, you need to make a good balance. good balance, right? So displacement, it can be a good example. Maybe you can understand better. So you have an impulse to scream at your supervisor because your boss complained a lot about what you've been doing as your kind of report. So you're so angry, but that person is your boss, your supervisor, and you need to deal with it nicely, right? So you cannot yell back to the supervisor, but when you go back home, you have your puppy, Maple, right? So you can maybe hit your Maple, maybe yell at the Maple. So those are more like a displacement. I mean, that's not a maybe good example, but I guess, you could not do the same thing back to your supervisor or maybe boss, but you can do more like a lower status of maybe your animal, maybe your brother, younger brother, yeah? You can kind of, say little bad things to them, yeah? Possibly. So you try to make a good balance as an ego because you have id. Yeah, and superego always try to make some like a good advice as a morale center, right? So we make a good balance. The last one is sublimation is, let's say you have some id impulse to hurt other people. Have you ever met very aggressive people in your life? Somehow there's no reason to be that aggressive, but that person is really aggressive. Have you ever met that kind of person? Yeah. So when was it? Just wondering. When was it? When do you?
When they were younger.
Like a junior high and high school. Yeah.
Well, heck, I mean, not even aggressive in a meaning way. Like my sister didn't mean to, but my sister was kind of aggressive whenever she was younger too.
Okay.
Like I mean, just not able to control her strength and like trying to show me a lizard egg and popping it or like just random stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So somehow those aggressive people, they really love to fight. They try to make any reason to fight and beat somebody else. Yeah. So if you have those very aggressive, yeah, aggression can be one of their, like a very impulse to hurt other people and fight each other. So you become a soldier or maybe professional fighter, boxer, professional boxer. So you get money kind of play those fighting with somebody else, but also you can be like be a champion. Yeah, so that can be one of the sublimation. So this is like a defense mechanism since we've been talking about id, pleasure center starting from the beginning of your life, and morality and moral center, which is super ego, will happen around 4 years old. And you really need to make a good balance between id and superego as an ego. Yeah, so we do experience so many things while we are living in this world, So using unconsciously and consciously, we are using some self-defense mechanism. The last one is more, good positive influence because, some of the people, they are very aggressive, even starting from very young age. But those kind of fighting mode, try to fight and win over with, like a game, they become a professional boxer. Yeah, and train themselves, and they really enjoy those training as well too, because of their aggressiveness. As maybe that can be one of the personality and temperament too, and they're using their temperament and personality to get money, for their living, and also satisfy their job and please other people. So it can be really good example of self-defense mechanism, sublimation. Okay. So here, finally, we can talk about psychosexual stage of development. And Freud believed there are 5 different stages, biologically based developmental stages of childhood during those personality characteristics are formed. So here, first stage is oral stage. So he believed, we say psychosexual stage of development because he believes all those sexual energy, libido will be around those mouth area, like oral area. So oral stage is like 0 to 18 months. So if you imagine like 0 to 18 months, what does usually baby do with some mouth? Can you give me any example? as a baby, like a newborn baby. Yeah.
Try and stick everything in their mouth.
Yeah. Kind of sucking motion to thumb tucking, or even like playing those toys they want to put into their mouth. Yeah, and they're very flexible. So they can put their toes put into their mouth too. They're very flexible too, and their torso is very short. I mean, comparing to adult, right? So oral stages, everything kind of explored through those oral like a mouth area. Yeah, those are 0 to 18 months. Anal stages, maybe I will go to the next one, so we can kind of come back here. So if you're looking at the oral stages, birth to 18 months, those are like a baby, those are feeding. Having those milk, maybe it can be mom's breast milk or maybe formula, and try to everything putting into their mouth and explore. So those are, libido, sexual energy is just around those mouth area. That's what Freud believes. Those are oral stages. And next stage is 18 months to like 3 years. 3 years. They're really good at maybe kind of amazed about their self-control and toilet training. So usually it will happen maybe 2 years old or maybe 3 years old. Toilet training can be really big thing. Kind of control, they can kind of hold and release and hold and release. It can be really big thing for them because for the first time, they can control their body. Yeah, because when you are their baby, they are having some diaper and that's kind of carried by adult, right? But now when they become 2 years old and 3 years old, now at least you can control your body yourself, right? So holding those urine and kind of release, it's really back kind of give you some like a big sense, like a satisfaction for the little baby. So toilet training can be one of the big kind of things you need to kind of go through those stages. Those are second stage, anal stages. All your energy and libido and sexual energy kind of surrounding that area. So anal stages, which is 18 months to 3 years old. And when you become older, which is 3 to 6 years old, those are early childhood period. Phallic stages, they're really interesting about their personal part and try to even compare, I'm a boy and I'm a girl, you do have it, I don't have it, yeah. And also at the same time, they really interesting and love about the opposite their parents. So as a boy, you really love your mom. Yeah, and as a girl, you really love your daddy, and you realize your mom already married. Daddy, your daddy, right? So it can be some jealous mind can happen, and you do not like it. You do not like it because you really love your mom, and even when you're thinking about, I want to marry my mom, right? Yeah, from as a young baby. I mean, that's Freud thinks in that way. So those are Oedipus complex and Electra complexes can maybe happen. Those in the age 3 and 6 years. So self-worth as reflected by parental interest, but age 4. Luckily, age 4 years old, morality, moral center and morality is kind of developed. So we realize I love my mom as a boy. I love my mom, and I really even want to marry her, but there's a daddy, so I cannot do that. But at the same time, if I'm thinking about my daddy, I love my daddy too. As a boy, I really want to be just like my daddy. Yeah, and so moral centers keep reminding you, jealous your daddy and try to do the bad things to your daddy. That's not right things to do. Because age 4, your moral centers kind of keep reminding you. So as an ego, you need to make a decision, right? Yeah. So instead of hate your daddy as a boy, you love your daddy and you really want to be like your daddy. Yeah. And also girl's case too, it maybe less happening comparing to the boy. Electra complex, as a girl, you love your daddy so much, yeah? And sometimes you jealous your mom, because your dad married your mom. But at the same time, moral center kind of keep reminds you, don't you love your mama too? Yeah, you love your mom and you want to be like your mom. Yeah, so that can be the period of age 3 to 6. That's kind of Freud believe in that way as a phallic stages. So after that, latency can happen, which is elementary school, age-wise like 6 to 11 years old. Those sexual libido is kind of sleeping, like a latent. Yeah, do not show clearly. So as a child, you are really focusing on your activities and learning and schoolwork. And later on, when you hit the puberty again, 11 and 12 and up, those are rejuvenating those in mature sexual relationships. So you're kind of looking for your boyfriend and girlfriend and try to have those relationships and more. And it's including us too. As an adult, you're looking for our spouse and maybe partner and try to live together. Kind of love each other and work at your place too. So that's really basic concept of Freud psychosexual stages. But we will talk more next Tuesday. Personality development. So Daniel, have you ever done MBTI test?
Think so.
You think so? Yeah.
I don't.
So those are free tests. So I will talk more about next Tuesday. So it will be really fun. Try to find out, what is your, MBTI type. Yeah, that's kind of one of the assignment too. So you will enjoy those, personality test. Yes. So so far you've kind of